It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazaway. Let's talk some sports.
Go Tuesday show, August 15, 2023. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com if you're watching live. However you're watching, listening, consuming Woodward Sports, we appreciate you. Braylon Edwards, we appreciate you too. Good afternoon to you.
Appreciate you too, man. Sorry I couldn't be with you yesterday. I know Maz wasn't here. I'm sorry I was gone as well. I was playing Indianwood Country Club out in Lake Orion in the Frank Beckman WJR outing. Frank Beckman, of course, did a bunch of my games when I was in Michigan, so I always want to give back to the family. He was a great guy. Maz, good friend of Maz, he always tells a story about us losing the clock stop game, and Maz is just going on and trying to talk, listen to the radio, and what is it, Brandy and Frank Beckman both say, "Would you shut up?" Jesus
no
Christ.
Talking on the ride back.
So glad to do that, but glad to be back in studio today. And good news, man, with my Jets and my Lions.
Oh, yeah, a lot to get to today. The Maz chair is once again the sad Maz chair. No Maz today. He'll be back on Thursday.
Does he ever work? Jesus. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Says the guy that just got back today.
Oh, man. Who got back today?
Me.
Oh, yeah. Braylon's here. Braylon's here for a little bit, so we're going to get all the information we can get out of Braylon. Taking a trip after the show today. Actually, you're going to leave at about 3:30.
Yeah.
So Braylon's going to leave at 3:30, and Dan Miller's going to come on with us at about 3:25. So Dan Miller will join the show.
Got to tell him where I'm going. Man.
We'll talk Lions. Going to see the Jets tomorrow.
I'm excited. You know, as much as I love my new stake with the Detroit Lions, you know I'm a Jet guy, and I love that they're doing the similar thing as Detroit. They're adding the pieces, and they believe that this is their chance to win the Super Bowl. You see they just added another piece that we'll have a chance to talk about. So going there, doing some interviews, and I'm just kind of excited to see the process. It's been a while since the Jets were something to talk about and never had a real chance. So I'm excited to see Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson go at it too, man. Those one-on-ones. That's what I'm looking for.
Now, did you get a chance to get the name of the gentleman from Hard Knocks that joined us all last year?
That was Maz's job.
Well,
that's Maz's job.
Important to win those games. 1-0 in the preseason. What was your overall takeaway, I guess, before we get into the show here?
The interesting thing is, you know, I think having Lions perform the way they did at the end of last year and for us to be talking about them from January all the way to now, I didn't realize how much it was important for them to get a win. Now, it wasn't, but for some reason, it looks, when you talk about a team continuously from January 1st to whatever the game was the other day on the 12th, I believe, or the 10th, you want to see that team win. You want to kind of be right, so it was good to see them win. It was the rookies. It was the rookies, like, you know, Brian Branch, the first hit in the first quarter, like he set the tone for what he's bringing to the Detroit Lions. Jack Campbell, yes, I was the one who made the face after you drafted him. Just watching him as a play caller, watching him slide the defensive line on some plays, watching him blow up their play on 3rd and 2, how he shed the guard who tried to double team him, and then he really dropped the hammer on him. So watching the rookies play, Dylan Drummond made some plays. Obviously watching J-Mo out there. So the first thought was just assessing the rookies, and that offensive line looks real. Go ahead.
No, yeah, absolutely. I think
defensive line, excuse me.
Yeah, I think it went pretty much according to plan. And number one, just as long as nobody gets hurt.
Yeah,
that's my number 1, 2, and 3 situation for
still
training camp.
Yeah, Aiden.
You know, Aiden got a little bit of a foot or an ankle, however it's going, but no big deal over there. Hey, Braylon, one of the guys that the Lions, by the way, are off today. No media availability for the Lions, but after practice yesterday, we got a first chance to hear from Teddy Bridgewater. Had some really good things to say. Before we listen to some of that, though, how about the fact that he's wearing number 50? Have you ever in your life, I don't even know why I think this is a big deal, but Teddy Bridgewater's wearing the number 50. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Well, the first thing I thought about when I saw this was when Devin Gardner had 98 in Michigan.
What was he thinking?
Well, they were doing the classics night with all the retired jerseys, which, by the way, are only 4 numbers in Michigan history. They were doing something like that. I think Jeremy Gallon wore Desmond's number, then he wore the great 98, and then there was another one more. But that's what I thought about. You know what? Sometimes you have those guys that don't care. I remember Chris Webber, when he played for the Pistons, he wore 84. Sometimes you have those guys that have been around for a while, and they just do things that they haven't done before. But people are going to talk about this, and to be honest, he might sell some jerseys because it's an interesting thing. He'll be the only quarterback wearing 50 in the league.
You know, back when you played, though, too, when you wore
I
7...
Okay, I thought you were saying I played in the 20s.
But what I'm saying is, when you wore 17, that was a pretty unusual jersey number. All those guys were in the 80s.
So what happened was they passed the rule in the NFL the year before I got in the league that you can now wear as a wide receiver the team numbers. So that's why you saw in 2004, including Roy Williams, who came here, that boom in number 11. Larry Fitzgerald had number 11. Roy Williams had number 11. Reggie Williams had number 11. So when I came the next year, I didn't want to wear 11 like everybody else, even though I wore 1 in college, which is why all those guys wore 11 because they wore 1 as well. 17 was the only other sleek looking number that I said, I can get jiggy in that. I ain't like 18. 16 is a big quarterback number. 15 is okay. 13 is unlucky. 12 is all old quarterbacks from like the 70s. So 17, no wide receiver had it. And after I got it, Plaxico Bears got it a month later because if you remember, he was 80 with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He was 80. That's absolutely right. Hey, going back to the game for a second on Friday night, have you ever seen a preseason game in which the opponent needed to go on a silent count because of how loud the fans were in a preseason game? Have you ever seen that in your life?
No, it was ruckus in there. And thank you to my man Parker, who was giving us update by update as it was happening in the minute. And I could chance to hear that loud and active. That crowd was active. That crowd smelled something, and they wanted to see it. And I think the Lions responded exactly the way they wanted to, especially in that second half. That defensive line, that's I know it was a preseason game, but the fact that you see that defensive line that active on that many different rotations, even at the end of the game, it was good to see.
No doubt about it. Guys, we're going to hear from Teddy Bridgewater. We're going to see what Amon-Ra St. Brown did yesterday. We are also going to get some news on the Lions to win the Super Bowl, what's happening, and the national love continues to pour in for the Detroit Lions. And Dan Miller going to join us in hour number 2 at about 3:25, 3:30, somewhere in there. But first, a message from Fairway Packing Company. For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Company has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. You can experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks. You can order online as well, fairwaypacking.com, fairwaypacking.com. Source.
Age, cut, pack to perfection.
Boom.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us. Hop on the YouTube chat. Slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
You're a good coach, Tim. Oh, great shot.
Some of the biggest names in Michigan sports, and some, well, not so much.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, shit. Go in.
Watch episodes at woodwardsports.com.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
The Academy Award has a brand new state-of-the-art Sports Dome Fieldhouse that has regulation basketball court, volleyball court, and soccer field that also can be used for 7-on-7 football. K through 8 that features AM and PM latchkey, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Houghton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K through 8 athletics, and much, much more. Ermanni and Edwards will be broadcasting from their carnival on August 24th, so come meet us. We would love to meet you guys as well. And also you can explore your child's new school. The Academy of Warren is now accepting new enrollment, so go to academyofwarren.net. That website again, academyofwarren.net.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Woodward Sports, on YouTube. Hit that like button as well. We got over 220 some likes during the live broadcast yesterday. What's that?
It was in the first hour.
In the first hour. I mean, my goodness, we're rolling yesterday. Hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. Helps YouTube push our content out to more people. You know, Braylon, we were just talking about Teddy Bridgewater, and one of the things that I think Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have tried to do in building this roster is not just going for talented guys, but going for good guys, going for players that want to be a part of something special, want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And Teddy Bridgewater didn't have to speak for 2 seconds yesterday. As soon as he opened up his mouth, you knew what this guy was all about.
Yeah.
I just want to play a couple of clips for you. This one revolves the importance of helping young players.
I won't play this game forever. You know, there's certain things in life that I can't do forever. So it's like, man, how can I leave an everlasting impact? How can I prepare the next wave of talent, the next wave of, you know, athletes for what's in store?
You know, just trying to leave something bigger than himself. You know what I mean? I hear this guy speak. I heard his media session, and you fall in love with the guy right away.
Yeah, you know, one thing about Teddy Bridgewater is coming out of Louisville, he's always seemed to be a responsible, mature type of player. Like, even though he came out, he was younger. He was a younger quarterback coming out of Louisville, but he just always seemed more mature. And now you've seen a guy that has been in the league, seeing how the league kind of works, and he wants to pass some of that information back to the individuals that he plays with. So he's very intentional on the things that he does, and he was intentional on choosing the Detroit Lions. It's a great fit for him and taking the next step in his career, being able to teach the game and also being able to be ready to play if need be, but also helping out the young guys. And you know which young guy in particular he's probably talking about Hendon Hooker.
Well, Hendon Hooker and Jamison Williams,
yeah, exactly.
Just
Jameer
about
Gibbs,
everybody,
all
all of these guys. And he did specifically talk about Jamison Williams, too, just talking about how much potential this young man had. This is a tweet from Justin Rogers. Teddy Bridgewater said he's looking forward to pushing Jamison Williams in ways he hasn't been pushed before. Impressive first media session with the new backup quarterback, just oozes of confidence and leadership. That from Justin Rogers, Lions beat reporter for the Detroit News. Braylon, not only does he want to help J-Mo, but you know as well as I do, J-Mo will look at Teddy Bridgewater a little bit differently, perhaps, than he would maybe Nate Sudfeld or even
Jared Goff.
Or Jared Goff, even.
Or Jared Goff. Look, let's call it spade a spade. J-Mo's from Florida. Teddy Bridgewater's from Florida. Teddy Bridgewater played at Louisville. Like, it's a different. You look at him, you see yourself. So you want to listen to a guy, not to mention also, he's a veteran in this league. He's been in this league now, I think, going on year 8 or year 9. You're looking for a guy that can point you in the right direction. Like, when I first got to the Cleveland Browns, yes, I came from Michigan, 4-year athlete. I was 22, but, you know, it's the next level. It's the NFL. You know, I'm looking for somebody to I'm looking for some guidance. And even if we don't know we're looking for guidance, we still do do things and look, you know, and to say, hey, I'm coming around you because I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to be a sponge to you. So to have somebody, he's young. He's navigating through the space. And one thing we talked about is how young the Detroit Lions are as a team. Sometimes it takes guys that are year 8, year 9, year 10. They've seen a little more. They've been in different spots. They can help Jamison Williams. They can see something that, even though Amon-Ra St. Brown is a leader, he's still a young player in this league trying to figure out himself with the Detroit Lions. He can't be somebody that necessarily can babysit a Jamison Williams, if you will. And I don't use that term. Actually, I shouldn't use that term. But he's a guy that's still trying to figure his stuff out as a young player. Teddy Bridgewater can push him. Teddy Bridgewater can see things, and Teddy Bridgewater can say certain things. Because also, it's that when you're close in age, you don't listen so much, Ryan. When somebody may be doing the right thing, but they're a year or two older than you, if you're not smart, you don't pay attention to it. But when you got a guy that's clearly 9 years older and you try to point you in the right direction, you tend to listen to more.
What'd you make of J-Mo's first game on Friday?
First, Nate Sudfeld tried to force the ball in there, and I understand that. Just looking, let me take it back. I jumped in as a wide receiver. Obviously dropped the 40-yard touchdown pass. I wish I could see him with the first offense. Because when you're watching with the second offense, and I know they're a damn good team, especially offensive line, that's one thing I did notice about the Lions. The offensive line, they were solid the whole game. It was lanes for Sudfeld, it was lanes for Martinez, and Martinez actually looked kind of smooth in there. But with J-Mo, didn't look crazy great, didn't look crazy bad. I mean, it just looked okay. It looks like I need to see another game. I need to see him in there with the first team offense. I need to see what it looks like with Jared Goff, because let's call it spade a spade. He won't be playing with those guys that he played with during the season. He won't be in there with those guys. He'll be in there with the first offensive line. He'll be in there with Dave Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. He'll be in there with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. So it looked okay, but it just looked like a little bit of chaos and confusion.
More from Teddy Bridgewater. Talks about paying it forward. And again, this guy has come in and just, you can't help but fall in love with the guy right away. Here's Teddy Bridgewater from yesterday's media session.
Man, that's just been me my entire life, just paying it forward, because I know that I won't play this game forever. There's certain things in life that I can't do forever. So it's like, man, how can I leave an everlasting impact? How can I prepare the next wave of talent, the next wave of, athletes for what's in store? And, it's kind of like my gift of life, just honestly pouring into the younger, athletes, the younger players on the team. And that's how I stay blessed, I feel. That's how I keep getting opportunities. Of course, aside from what I'm able to do as a football player, but it just means a lot to me, especially when you see guys like Jamison Williams, who has unbelievable talent. I get to be a part of his journey. And JT and I, we talk a lot because he's now on the coaching side. He's telling guys, man, Teddy taught me when I was a rookie. He taught me how to do this, do that. That's what it's all about for me. And of course, having success as a player. But those are the life trophies that, I get. Those are the plaques that, you don't see on the walls. And it just means a lot to me.
Hard to believe that Teddy Bridgewater was not signed well before training camp for anybody, not just the Lions, but hard to believe why that guy was sitting out there for so long, unless it was a total personal choice on his part. He wanted to take a wait-and-see approach. He knew he was going to get an opportunity. The money was probably going to be the same no matter where he went. Maybe the opportunity was not going to be. Maybe the team. I don't know how a guy like that isn't already signed with a team well before training camp.
Well, what happens is once you get old, once players get older, what happens is franchises, they kind of know what a player is and what they're looking for. And so they're like, you know what, let's let the young guys that we have now, let's see if any one of these young guys turns into something. Let's see if anything else happens around this and we can find somebody for cheap. Teddy Bridgewater is out there starting in January. He's out there. You know what he brings to a team. You know who he is. Dan Campbell knows who he is. You know the type of professionalism that he has. You don't need to see Teddy Bridgewater in there in April. You don't. You need to see Teddy Bridgewater if you don't believe in Nate Sudfeld, if you don't believe in Martinez, then you see him when camp's about to start because you know the professionalism that he has as a quarterback. So you don't need to have him in there the whole time. You get the younger guys, and you give the younger guys an honest look. Because the same thing kind of happened to me when I went back from the Seattle Seahawks in the end of 2012. I went back to the Jets. The Jets brought me in for the end of the season 2012, and then season was over with. They didn't bring me back, Ryan Ermanni, until the training camp started in August. So I wasn't with them in the offseason. I was an older player. They knew what I was about. They knew what I had to bring to the table. They said, let's see what the young guys can do through OTAs, through rookie minicamp, through all that stuff. And then once you get into the season, if you feel like you still need that player, you know where they are and what they're capable of doing.
Yeah, just, with the signing of Bridgewater, too, it just doesn't feel like the season is over automatically like it would have been had he not signed here in the event something, God forbid, happens to Jared Goff. You're one play away from your season just being completely over, and now you have at least a little bit of a cushion. And maybe it's not something catastrophic. Maybe it's something for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Maybe it's a series. And I go back to that long series that Patrick Mahomes had to come out in the playoffs. Yeah. Chad Henne, a veteran, capable backup, led the Chiefs on a 96-yard touchdown drive. And if Chad Henne doesn't lead them on that touchdown drive, maybe they lose that game somehow, some way, and don't end up winning the Super Bowl. So whether it's a series, a quarter, a game, or a season, this just feels like it was incredibly smart insurance on the part of the Detroit Lions to bring this guy in.
Hey, shoot, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe they're looking at it like you get to the end of the season, you start putting Teddy Bridgewater in the fourth quarter. Now, you plan on winning by that much, but it definitely makes sense to have a guy like Teddy Bridgewater in there. And they made a decision. We talked about this last year, bringing in Teddy Bridgewater, bringing in X, Y, and Z. I was for Marcus Mariota, if you remember, trying to go into last season. We wanted them to bring a guy in. They weren't ready. They say, we're still going to lose some games. We're not ready to bring a guy in. When the time comes, we'll get a guy. Well, this season, they're expected to win their division as well as challenge for the NFC Conference Championship team. So this is the season they went out and got him.
Going back to J-Mo for a second, I'm on Ross St. Brown. And J-Mo spoke yesterday, too. J-Mo just looks like a guy you want to root for, too. In this post-media session, post-practice media session, here's Amon Ross St. Brown. He takes over Gabrielle D. Phillips' job with the Woodward Sports microphone.
I got a question for you. Man, what's it like playing with St. Brown out there?
Oh, man, it's awesome. I play with a lot of good receivers. This man, one of the hardest working that I've been around, man. You see, like, he out here. After this, he about to go get some work of his own. It's just great playing with him. When we line up with each other, it's going to be scary.
What's something about Amon Ross St. Brown that maybe nobody knows?
You can't tell him.
I don't want to say that.
It's good to see that relationship between him and Amon Ross St. Brown. A lot of people, they want Jameson to be successful, but a lot of times it seems like it could be a sibling rivalry and trying to split those guys up. But one thing I also want to bring up with Jameson Williams is this. I was listening to something, I heard something, and it was a fan talking about Jameson Williams, and he was talking about what Amon Ross St. Brown does and what Jameson Williamson doesn't do. A lot of times fans take what they see, they take bits of what they hear, because this fan clearly didn't hear about Amon Ross St. Brown on the field before Amon Ross St. Brown sometimes out there working with Antoine Randall. There's a lot of expectation on Jameson Williams. Everybody has been mentioning his name and talking about him since literally he was drafted last year, talking about the injury and all that. So his name has been in the media for good or for bad for a very long time. He's trying to come here, he's trying to play, he's trying to find relaxation and calm in that. So there's a lot of pressure being put on him, and he's a young kid. He's trying to figure it out and navigate that space. You see him smile with Amon Ross St. Brown, though, man. This is a guy that wants to figure it out. This is a guy that's trying to figure it out. And I think Jameson Williams has a chance to be a good player and a damn good player for the Detroit Lions.
I think the Lions should put him out there more.
Yeah.
Because when you see that, you're like, this dude is having fun.
He is.
This dude is a great teammate. This dude is doing all the right things. Like, when you see that, it kind of convinces you opposite of what, the negative stuff that may be going on out there.
Exactly, and that's maybe what I was getting at, and you eloquated better than I did. When you see that, you see a guy that's working. You see a guy that's partners with his teammates. Amon Ross St. Brown knows how hard he works. Amon Ross St. Brown is not going to be that way with somebody that's not working hard. It's somebody that's not getting better. Everybody talks about what this kid can be and getting nervous. This kid was the best wide receiver in the country at Alabama. You don't think Nick Saban works hard? You don't think he works his players hard and to the bone to get the best out of them? So I just think, once this thing calms down. Once the levels find itself and once he gets back out there, once he starts to get into the rhythm again. But I do agree with you. They can get him out there more. I think one of the biggest problems, trying to put him into the best possible spot. When he comes in, they call certain plays to try to give him a big catch or get a big touchdown to get him going and get the fans going. Just put him out there. Because sometimes you try to put him in the best plays and those plays don't happen, and then you took him out the game. He can't get into a rhythm. He can't get into confidence, and I figured they got to do some of that.
Bronco81 in the YouTube chat, in the WoodwardSports.com chat, says this, and I almost 100% agree with this. Hearing him interact with media every day makes me realize to be worried less and less. Still small concerns over J-Mo, but totally think the kid is going to be great. And I think that really encapsulates right there how I feel about Jameson Williams. When I see him like that in that setting, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this kid's putting in the work, and you can tell by the smile. The smile tells me he's got confidence.
Yeah.
Right? The smile tells me he's getting it done. If he comes out there and he's hanging his head and he's not smiling, then I'm thinking he's questioning himself. But do I think there are question marks? Yes, I do think there are question marks. Do I think it's a 100% guarantee that he's going to be great? No, I do not think that. But I think it's better than 70%, better than 80%. And that's pretty darn good when you're talking about a college kid. I don't care who you are or what you are, going into the NFL.
Yeah, at the other time, you just got to see him. And that's just basically what you're saying. You got to see him. Last year, you didn't get a chance to really see him. You didn't get a chance to really interact with him because last year during training camp, he's hurt. So you're not watching him in practice. You're not getting a chance to know him, getting a chance to see it. So when you don't get a chance to see him and know him, all you're doing is reading and reading and listening and listening and reading. And you're formulating this idea of what Jameson Williams is because you don't have the footage, you don't have the interviews, you don't have that interaction with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So seeing that is definitely good. He's going to be all right. He just can't critique every little thing. I think something came out. He was what did he do? He was ordering some food late at like 1:30 in the morning. I think he was eating at Five Guys or something.
Oh my God!
And it was like, let this man live. Let this man live. You know what happens in training camp when you have the day off? It means you don't have curfew either. I'll tell you a story. We had T. Rich on the show. You know what T. Rich told you I do? I took his car and went to Taco Bell and got a flat tire in his car. I promise you, I only went to Taco Bell. But yeah, we were out having a Taco Bell. You're kicking it, you're up, you're talking to other players. When you get days off, you're not going to do something crazy. You're interacting, you're bonding with your teammates. This is when you guys start to build that chemistry in terms of, man, I'm tired as hell too, man. Like, what was it like at Alabama? What was Nick Saban like? You start to learn who your teammates are in those moments. So pipe down. It's going to be all right. Jameson Williams, we'll see him in 7 weeks and he'll be ready.
You mentioned Taco Bell. I can't understand, or I can't,
used to have a love craze.
Can't help myself but ask, what's your biggest Taco Bell order for you personally? Not like for like 2, 3, 4 other people. What is the most amount of money you've ever spent at Taco Bell on your self?
Well, why would you? On my own self?
Yes.
Most money I've ever spent at Taco Bell was $242.
On yourself?
I don't even want to say. $52.
Yeah. I was up over 50 myself.
Yeah, 52.
I've gotten like, I think it was around 57 to be honest with you.
I might be selling this short.
Yeah.
But for the sake of the perception of who I am as a fit person, but it's probably around $70. It got expensive, and I was young. It gets to the point where quesadillas are costing $8.30 a quesadilla. Mexican pizzas go up. So, yeah, you know what? You mix a little.
That's crazy.
Yeah. What do you think of that, Parker?
I don't think I've spent over $20 at a Taco Bell.
That's why it's so impressive. It's so impressive. You have to really try hard.
You got to get to like 40, see the screen, and say, you know what? F this. I'm going up. Here's a better question. How much of it did you eat? Now, that's the kicker.
I mean, it just depends how hungover I was. You know what I mean? Depends how much drinking was going on. You know what I mean? You can go through that drive-thru at 3 a.m., 2 a.m. Right?
That's real. Like, I think that's the worst too. Eating it the next day.
Oh man,
I'm ashamed of that.
Cold Taco Bell.
Oh, cold Taco.
I mean, it's not cold, but you can't heat it up because then the shell gets soft. You can like heat it for like 15 seconds.
Now that they don't have steak,
I
think it's really hard to do because you can get the steak tacos, you can get the steak burritos, you can get all that. You can't get the steak anymore. They don't have the steak.
I've actually done good. I haven't gone to Taco Bell in like 3 months.
Oh, man.
Like 3 months.
Love Taco Bell.
Just did Taco Bell last night. Not gonna lie.
Oh, man. You got to start the clock over like Pacific
I ate
Rim.
it for lunch yesterday.
See?
So good. Oh,
Taco
man.
Bell in a
I love it.
I'm not eating it. I'm not eating it. I am going out of town, though.
Oh, man. Hey, guys, more national love for the Detroit Lions. Hear what a couple of the national guys have to say about the Lions and where they are in terms of the public betting. How much money has been put on the Detroit Lions to win the Super Bowl? All that plus Dan Miller, hour number 2 coming up. But first, a message from Cintron.
How would you like to win a $100,000 Vegas getaway? You won't be doing that if you're spending $70 at Taco Bell, but take your closest friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. It's the Cintron Energy. Drink it and live it. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter to win the $100,000 Vegas getaway at drinkcintron.com/Vegas. And buy Cintron at your local Meijer. Cintron, the healthier energy drink with great taste and the choice of people who desire to look good, feel great, and be the best versions of themselves. That website, drinkcintron.com/Vegas. That website again, drinkcintron.com/Vegas.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network. A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Everybody, how's everybody doing out there in listener land? YouTube, hit us up, like the show, subscribe to Woodward Sports. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway. Sad share today. Sad share for us in studio. And I think Maz is a little sad today, too, because left Jersey today. You know, he was down there on a family vacation and left Jersey today. I think Maz gets sad when he leaves Jersey.
It's going to be even sadder because he's leaving. I'm going to Jersey. He's leaving. I'm going.
He's leaving because you're going.
That's terrible, too. See, I could have had him in training camp, man. Could have got Maz out there in Florham Park, man.
Oh, man, that's so awesome. We missed Tom Mazaway. We'll see him on Thursday. Braylon, more national love when it comes to the Detroit Lions. First and foremost, we go to the NFL Network. Good Morning Football. The first one is Good Morning Football on the hot start for the rookies.
Can I give you a team of rookies? The Lions came out there against the Giants. They decided, we're going to play all our rookies. We are going to give them an opportunity. And from the get-go, they were making plays all over the field. I want to start off with Jahmyr Gibbs. He didn't have that huge highlight run. He didn't have a Deuce Vaughn run or anything like that. Jahmyr Gibbs, though, was fantastic in the few carries that he had. Breaking tackles, making plays. You could already see by his running style, he's got a vision to him. But the thing that I liked most, and this is him in the receiving option, he gets back there, and we've got Sudfeld at quarterback. Jahmyr Gibbs was pass protecting, and that's going to be huge. Very rarely do we get pass protection, but he was picking up blitzes left and right for the Lions. So that's Jahmyr Gibbs. They weren't done there. Jahmyr Gibbs was just one of their first-round picks. You look at some of these other guys here. Let's go to the next one here. Let's move it on to the next rookie because we're getting this, and this is your other guy that everyone has been talking about, and that is Brian Branch. Brian Branch was laying the wood. Number 32 was all over the field, and It's one of those deals. I had Brad Holmes, the GM, on while he was doing this play, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, that's what it's been all summer." And I'm like, "Wait, tell me more." And he's like, "No, you don't need to know more. Just know that's just what it's been." It's a heated battle in the defensive backfield for the Lions, and Brian Branch might be the guy. We're not done yet. Jack Campbell was on the field. Okay. Iowa, corn-fed, let's go. And he was plugging the holes and making hits. Look at this dude wearing 46 as an inside linebacker all over the field, hitting the hole on every play. And then, you look at a guy like Campbell, you're like, all right, where was he drafted? Oh, first round as a middle linebacker. Again, heated battle at linebacker, and he is making plays. Loved what we saw out of the rookies. Sam Laporta, the tight end, had an opportunity. He dropped a pass, but the Lions, they have a ton of players and a great veteran base, but this whole rookie class has so much hype to it, and they all delivered in a great way. So I'm excited. Lions rookies, I think, really showed out.
We got to watch how much love we take from Peter Schrager, man, because he is pouring it on thick, man. I had a chance to watch the Altcast on Friday.
Did you watch that?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, I can't watch the whole game like that.
Sure.
But it was cool to jump in and get some Lions love and, see and check it out. And Peter Schrager, he has good energy. He always has good energy. He's well-researched, so I actually like watching Good Morning Football with Peter Schrager. But everything he said, and I can't deny anything he said, it seems like I watched this already because that's kind of my synopsis of it. I talked about that hit by Brian Branch, and what you love by the hit, it wasn't that just the contact. It was that he finished through the runner. This is Nick Saban-style football from Alabama, so that was damn good to see. And then you talk Jack Campbell, Mr. Number 46. That reminds me, that's that Big Ten West stuff, because Wisconsin likes to have linebackers wearing those 40 number, but that guy, man, he gets in there. He makes the point of contact. He sheds. He's communicative. He's very comfortable with calling the plays and getting guys in the right position on the defensive line. He looked good at that position, man. He looked like he could go left to right. His lateral skills, which were in question for me, they didn't look to be in question against the game. It's only one game, and it's against the Giants' second team. But what I saw, I definitely liked out of him. And Jameson Williams dropped the pass. Once again, it's repetition. It's going to be repetition. I mean, it doesn't help when it's on your mind because your coach said you couldn't catch the other day. But repetition, getting there more comfortable, more smiles, and he'll get into a rhythm as well. Those guys definitely look good out there, and it's deserved. Like, it's not anything extra. It's not anybody trying to jump on the bandwagon because people are talking about Detroit. He was one of the first, and the things that he pointed out, they're the things that you see on the tape. So it's not anything that you're some phantom love. He's pointing out everything that he's telling you.
So that was NFL Network talking about the rookies. Here's Kirk Herbstreit on Pat McAfee's show talking about Brian Branch.
I told you after the draft about the Detroit Lions. All you guys were, a lot of the media making fun of their draft.
Not us.
Certainly not us.
Not us.
Not us.
I know you guys love Dan Campbell, but there are a lot of people that were thinking that they reached on some of those picks. I don't know. It's early in camp, but I think those guys are looking pretty good here.
Kirk, those first four picks they picked are all going to start this year. They already said Laporta's tight end one. Jack Campbell was trending on Twitter because he played so well. Gibbs looked great, and then Brian Branch is everywhere.
I'm telling you,
I didn't know how good he was.
Branch can play anywhere. You can play him at nickel. You can play him at safety. He even played corner some because they had some injuries. That guy can do anything for you. So if you can pick up four guys that right away step in and contribute and play and start, it's a pretty good draft in my opinion. We all know that what they can do on offense. Detroit has a chance, and Gibbs is going to be one of those Christian McCaffrey type of guys, Alvin Kamara type of guy because of what he can do running the ball and catching the ball.
Yeah, man, he's absolutely right. And this is Kirk Herbstreit. Look, man, one thing Kirk Herbstreit knows about is college football, and it's the Big Ten because he's focused so much on Ohio State and Michigan. So he knows about Jack Campbell and Iowa. He knows about what those guys can do, and he did tell about Brian Branch. That's one of the things that I love about Brian Branch is the fact he also played cornerback for the last 2 years, some because of the injuries. But Jahmyr Gibbs, like Maz was nervous when DeAndre Swift left because DeAndre Swift was, he had the 57-yard screen last year, so he had a 57-yard touchdown catch. He can run the ball. He was explosive. Maz was nervous. I told you, no need to fear. Jahmyr Gibbs is here. You saw him catch the ball out of the backfield, and he was catching passes. He weren't just catching angles or running back screens, running the ball between the tackles. That was one of the big concerns for everybody was, can he run between the tackles? Is he just a guy that's going to run outside? Kind of like Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush never ran through the tackles. He always ran outside because he was faster than everybody else. Jahmyr Gibbs is a full running back, complete running back that can run between the tackles, and he has the speed to get to the outside and take the deuces and throw it to the house.
I think leading up to the NFL draft, most of us figured the Lions might get 1 or 2 starters max out of the draft because they were so set, especially after the free agency period where they got Cam Sutton, where they got Emmanuel Mosley, where they got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, where they're getting Tracy Walker back. They re-signed Alex Anzalone. They got Derek Barnes. They've got Malcolm Rodriguez. When you look, they re-signed John Kaminsky and Isaiah Buggs and these guys. Where is the starter in there? You looked at the tight end position. Last year, they traded away T.J. Hawkinson, and the 3 tight ends that they had were as good of a unit as any on the team once Hawkinson was gone. Those 3 players, Zylstra, Mitchell, and Brock Wright. So you're thinking to yourself, where is the starter here? Where do we need a starter for the Detroit Lions? And to come up with essentially 4 guys that could really just start, and I know depending upon what the formations are, maybe Branch doesn't start, but for the first down of play 1, call that a starter. But
if you play more snaps, it doesn't matter if you start the first play. You're a starter.
You get the idea. Laporte, maybe you come out in a 4 wide receiver set. Laporte is not out there.
This is true.
But you understand what I'm talking about. If you can
that cost me $150,000 one year.
Yeah, right. Really?
Because they knew that, and they played me on a couple of snaps, and I missed my bonus by 3 plays. But they have a guy there that counts every freaking play. They started some guys in this random. Don't get me started on that.
All right, I won't get you started.
It's my fault.
But nonetheless, if you've got 4 starters, 4 guys that really are contributors, and 5 if you want to put Broderick Martin in there, really, my goodness, this is as deep a Lions team as we've seen in quite some time. My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I figured they could use it. They could have a starter at defensive interior. I knew that if they drafted somebody, he was going to start this year. I figured we would get another. If we had a linebacker of some sort, if they did get Jack Campbell in the second round, he had a chance to start because I wasn't keen on the linebacking core that we had. But to your point, that would have been it for me. I would have thought a linebacker could have started, and I would have thought that a DB because we did have some issues at DB last year. So maybe that. But it wasn't more than 2 players, to your point. I wasn't thinking that not only 2, 4, the potential for 4 starters, man. And you're talking about guys that aren't just going to play. Guys that, see, if this would have been 4 starters starting the 2022 season or starting the 2021 season, it doesn't matter you got 4 guys in the draft because nobody on the team can play or nobody on the team. We needed more. But you're talking about 4 guys starting on a team that's pretty well put together. This is going to be good, man. I saw nothing more than 2 in Jahmyr Gibbs. That's one thing I did say. I said he will be the number 1 running back for the Detroit Lions by the time the season's over. Probably game 6. I love David Montgomery. You saw what that is. It just looks different. It doesn't matter that that's the Giants' 2nd or 3rd team. Those are NFL players that were good at somebody's damn college and institution. That boy's good.
No doubt about it, guys. Coming up next, I want to get into this Super Bowl bet. Darren Ravel put out a tweet. We'll show it to you next. About the Lions and the amount of people putting money for them to win the Super Bowl. What world are we living in? I mean, what world are we living in?
Across the multiverse.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I don't know. I might have to go to the doctor if it lasts any longer than this.
This is a different Earth. This is Earth 42.
If it lasts 4 hours or more, go to the doctor. Super Bowl. But first, a message from Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. That's right, Les Stanford has expanded into Ferndale, a trusted name for over 55 years. Les Stanford Buick GMC, same great service that customers have come to know. You can go check them out on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile. And of course, if you're looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford in Dearborn, where they have been for over 55 years. You can find the brands you want, all GM brands under one umbrella. LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com.
Find new roads.
Find them.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network. How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice. One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Play, practice, party, and play at Cambria Hotel, 5 Iron Golf, downtown Detroit. It is a fun place. Had a chance to play there last Thursday, and we'll be there this Thursday, as is. Every Thursday is Woodward Sports Night, Thursday Night Golf League. A lot of fun. Play some of your favorite courses around the country without even leaving your state. Food, drinks, 13 golf simulators. It's a fun place, and it's a nice hotel as well, man. Come on down, 5 Iron Golf, Thursday Night Golf League, Woodward Sports.
Hey, guys. The Detroit Lions are creeping up the board when it comes to Super Bowl odds. Okay, Darren Ravel put out a tweet saying that the Lions have gone from 25-1 to 22-1 odds to win the Super Bowl at BetMGM. So 25-1, you bet $100, you win $2,500.
Yep.
You bet $10, you win 25.
There you go.
Or $10, you win $250.
Yep,
that's what it is.
There
$10, you win $250.
There it is.
See,
I'm glad you'll know that stuff.
Right. Now, if you bet $10, you win $220. So the odds for so many people are putting money on the Lions to win the Super Bowl. And that's what this is all about. Odds are not who Vegas thinks will win the Super Bowl. Vegas puts odds at where they can get matching money. They can get so that a loss for them
is not a
loss for them.
Yeah.
They want equal amounts of money on both bets. The Lions to win the NFC are the biggest liability for the book. That means if the Lions win the NFC championship and go to the Super Bowl, the books are going to get cleaned out.
Yeah.
That means so many people have money on the Lions to win the Super Bowl. The sports books are rooting for any other team.
But
they're rooting for the Eagles. You'd think more people have money on the Eagles? No.
Lions.
Because
of the bet and the hype.
You think people have more money on the 49ers? No. Lions.
Best.
36% of the money is on Detroit to win the NFC.
That would be a huge loss for me.
That is incredible. 8% of the money is on the Lions to win the Super Bowl. That is a huge number, Braylon.
Yeah. Did you bet against?
Yeah, I mean, right now.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're looking for legitimate odds too. When you make a bet like this,
right?
When you make a futures bet, like they call it a future. When you make a futures bet like this, you want good odds.
Yeah.
Now, if that Lions, if they beat Kansas City, those odds go from 22 to 15-1.
Yeah.
No, I'm not betting the Lions at 15-1.
Yeah.
If they lose to Kansas City and they go to 30-1, 35-1,
take that bet.
Then you're going to take that again. You're going to bet it again.
All about the futures. Wow. Yeah, man, it seems like the more you know, and it seems like people around the country, you look at the hype that was before training camp, for OTAs, the hype, people thought that was just Detroiters. That was just Detroiters hyping up the Detroit Lions. That's Detroiters hyping up the last 2 games of the season or the last 10. That's just hype. But the more they started to come out about how good that Lions how good the mad scientist Brad Holmes draft was with the Detroit Lions, the more that you see the picks in the free agency, the more you start seeing teams talking about it. Go ahead.
Dan Miller's on, or is he just testing? Yeah, thank you. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, but the more you see these things go up, man, now the more information you have, people, first of all, you bet the crazy bet just to bet it, just to make the bet. Like, if it happens, it happens. I don't know. But now you're seeing more people, the more information that they have, they're watching like, I mean, I think they got a shot. It's an outside shot, but it's a shot to put money on.
Bray, doesn't it just speak to how much confidence people have in this football team right now? And not only this football team, but this organization, that people are putting their money where their mouth is. You know, whether it's betting them to win the NFC Championship game, whether it's betting them to win the Super Bowl, whether it is you know, selling out season tickets for the first time in the 21-year history of Ford Field. People are putting their money where their mouth is, where their heart is, where their belief system is when it comes to this football team. They have completely changed how we feel as a community, as a city, about this team.
I'll give you an example what makes sense to about that, to equate it with a bet. All right, so the Detroit Lions, So this past weekend in the FedEx Cup, Lucas Glover, his odds were 40-1, Ryan. They were, so when you look on Thursday, I'm looking at the odds before they start. It's 40-1, so that's plus 4,000 for you guys out there. Now I add that number, which is all right, cool. These are am I right, Ryan? These are really good odds, correct?
Great
odds. Now I'm also putting in with a little bit of information. What happened the week before that? He won the Wyndham outing and looked really well. His putting had been amazing in the last 2 months, which was horrible 3 months ago. Putting was better. He won, looked really good, blew the field away. I'm like, well, one is it's good odds, and also the little bit of information I have from last week. You know what? I'm gonna put that bet in for Lucas Glover. Well, guess who won the outing this past Sunday, Ryan?
Lucas Glover.
It was Lucas Glover. So you put a little bit of information in what I've seen with my own two eyes. And I think that's what you're saying with people in Detroit. They're like, hey, look, this team looks real. I like what they're doing. Every time the people say, well, I don't like that move or this didn't make sense, it comes up that those moves and those draft picks made sense. So that's what you're seeing.
I can't mention Lucas Glover and not mention the sweaty pants. The swampy pants.
It was bad.
I don't think it's not like I've watched a ton of golf in my life. Right. I have watched the majors and things like this. I don't think I can remember a time where I saw a person sweating in their bottom half like that in my life.
So
let these guys wear shorts or wear darker pants.
Two things. One, Lucas Glover is an older dude. Like, he's not like these young.
He's only like 43.
He's 46, but the average age on tour now is 31, Ryan. The average age,
gosh.
This isn't 1995 with Tom Clayton and Lee Trevino. The average age is 31 on tour. These guys are young. He's an older guy. He's also not an older, smooth guy. He's one of those cats that he looks like he can brawl. He looks like a brawler, but you're absolutely right. You got to do something. Like, that wasn't, I didn't like watching that on TV.
I felt bad for the guy.
I felt bad, but then he won, so I felt good. But you're absolutely right. I mean, they will not go back. Hell, country clubs allowing public golfers or to you to book a tee time, they just start allowing shorts at some country clubs within the last 8 to 10 years. PGA is way behind the times.
Unbelievable stuff. Hey, speaking of good things that happened this weekend, how about Lomas Brown, huh?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, man. I haven't known Lomas since 1988.
Sorry, for people that don't know, during one of the commercial breaks,
you got the video?
We did. We ran it yesterday.
Okay,
Rod Wood told Lomas Brown, direct your attention to the video board, and there's a video played. Lomas Brown going to be inducted into the Pride of the Lions against the Raiders, whatever date that is, October 20-something.
Yeah, I'll be there.
So during the Raiders game, Lomas Brown is going to be in the Pride of the Lions. His name will be on Ford Field.
It just couldn't happen to a better person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what my message is. It just couldn't happen to a better person. Known him for a very long time. He's a family friend. Always giving me advice. Always stay cool. He's a non-judgmental guy. But he does so much work in the city of Detroit, man. So much in the community and so much as relate to the homeless in terms of food drives, in terms of the less fortunate. Let me start there. Just the less fortunate. He's out in the community. Halloween, Thanksgiving. He's doing events with the NFLPA, NFL Alumni Association chapter. Tim as the president. He's done an amazing job. He had a great career. So humble. He's so quiet. He's not one of those guys that tells you what he's done. He's not one of those guys that just always has to be in the spotlight. Lomas has always been behind the scenes, but always putting in a lot of work. And when you see his reaction, like, it's the perfect reaction when you're trying to, be like, do something for somebody and, like, you want that reaction. You want that reaction because he's not a person that would ever have asked to been in the pride of Detroit. I would have asked. I was like, man, you know how many Pro Bowls I've been to? Y'all better put me in that damn pride. He's not that guy. And when you see his response, it's like, oh, wow, man, this is nice. It was so great, so genuine. And love Lomas. And, I'm happy and I'm proud. I know I'm the young guy, but I'm proud. I'm happy for him.
No doubt. He's a great person, and I said this yesterday too, Bray. It just seems like everything the Lions are doing right now is the right thing.
Yeah.
It just feels like, and I do think Rod Wood gets a lot of credit for that. Look, Rod Wood has been through the ringer here in Detroit, I think, for the way the Calvin Johnson situation was handled, and I'm sure there's maybe some regret there. It seems like everything has been everything is getting patched up as far as that goes. But look, he was a part of bringing Chris Spielman in. He was a part of bringing Brad Holmes here. He was a part of bringing Dan Campbell here, and I do think Rod Wood deserves a lot of credit for this organizational shift that has occurred, if for nothing else, for bringing Chris Spielman, Dan Campbell, and Brad Holmes in.
And telling Sheila Ham to drop forward from her last name. Look, sometimes when you're in situations when you get older and you're stuck in your ways, or you're used to doing something a certain way, Ryan, or when you've done something wrong, sometimes when people they don't get it, they double down and continue to do things the wrong way. He's not. You talk about Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is a guy that around Stanford, around San Fran, early on in Michigan, he done a couple wrong things. He stayed in his ways, but then he evolved, then he changed. And as Jim Harbaugh changed, Michigan changed. Like in the last 3 years, Michigan has turned into a different thing, how he opened the door. Same thing with Rod Wood. Now he's opening the door. He's listening to Chris Spielman, who's telling him, every year you better put a former alumni in the Hall of Fame, which is true. Like, he's listening and he's adapting. He's made some great moves. Like, how you start is not how you finish. And how you start in the job is not how you finish. If you stay the course, you're open to advice. Seems like he's open to whoever's talking, whoever's in his ear, and they're doing better things. And you're seeing the things, how the direct effect is on the community, on the team, on the spirit, on the building, and everything. So whoever's in his ear, man, keep listening.
No doubt about it. Bray, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to go around the NFL a little bit. Also, Braylon's take on Michigan being number 2 in the AP poll. We'll get Dan Miller coming up at 3:25. But first, a message from Planet Fitness.
Yes, because summertime is a great time to join Planet Fitness and beat low E. Planet Fitness is your home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and I do mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym with tons of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes in the 30-minute circuit, and all memberships include fitness training. No matter where you are, there is a Planet Fitness close by, with more than 50 convenient locations in the Metro Detroit area and thousands more throughout the world. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness, or as always, check them out online at planetfitness.com.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit. We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Hey, welcome back. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. Hour number 2 of the program. Really cool, I think. This is just fantastic. The Red Wings have acquired Jeff Petrie in a trade in exchange for defenseman Gustav Lindstrom and a conditional 4th-round pick in 25. Jeff Petrie, the son of Dan Petrie. How cool is that? Former Tiger. Now he's on Bally Sports, but of course, Dan Petrie, 1984 World Series champion. They are the only father-son Major League Baseball NHL combo
ever.
There's some, obviously
same
there's
sports,
same sports. I think there's a baseball football component.
There's football, basketball. Grant Hill, his father, Calvin Hill.
But this is the first. They are the first Major League Baseball and NHL father-son combo.
That's dope,
and Dan Petrie's other son is the head baseball coach at Orchard Lake St. Mary's too. They're a powerhouse. So a lot of talent in the Petrie family. Great to have him back.
Yeah, man. They both got a chance to play for the Illiges, man. It's dope. That is dope.
Braylon, I only have you for about 25 more minutes before you got to go catch a flight.
Countdown.
Remind the folks where you're going again if they're just tuning in.
Tomorrow, tonight, headed out to New York. Former team of mine, New York Jets, my favorite team, bringing me back to get into the fold, have fun tomorrow, get a chance to do some interviews and watch training camp, see what Aaron Rodgers, number 8, is going to do with this team this year. So I'm excited. I look forward to having it. They got Dalvin Cook now. So Dalvin Cook, once everything gets signed, sealed, and delivered today, he'll probably be around tomorrow. So I'll be sure to ask some questions. And I want to see Detroit's own Sauce Gardner get into it with Garrett Wilson. Can't wait. It's nothing like watching an iron sharper than iron, man.
No doubt. Let's start there as we go around the NFL. Dalvin Cook signing a 1-year deal with the Jets, $8.6 million, Braylon. I believe, it was $8.6 million for the Jets. It feels like the Jets now, to me, are the 2004 Los Angeles Lakers. You've got Kobe, Shaq, Karl Malone, Gary Payton. You're just whoever.
That sounds like some hate.
Whoever's a free agent is going to the Jets now.
That sounds like some
Randall
hate.
Cobb, Alan Lazard, Aaron Rodgers, Dalvin Cook. It's fine, but
it sounds like Detroit 04 hate.
It's totally fine.
I can't wait to see. I pray the Jets and the Lions in the Super Bowl.
Isn't it Super Bowl or bust?
For the Jets?
For the Jets. Honestly, you don't trade for Aaron Rodgers, and you just don't mortgage your future on Aaron Rodgers if you're not trying to win the Super Bowl. If it's not Super Bowl or bust.
I don't.
At least in this year or next.
Okay, you had the caveat.
I'm adding the next.
You add the next year. All right. In those 2 years. Here's the crazy thing about it, and you can call me a homer all you want to. I've been dealing with you homers for the last 3 years.
Sure.
I'll gladly
Go
take
for it.
the homer. I don't think you have to go Super Bowl or bust for them, and this is why. They haven't been in the playoffs since 2010 season when I was there. Haven't been to the playoffs. Haven't been relevant.
Is that how long it's been?
2010.
Wow.
100% have not been to the playoffs.
They should have re-signed you that year.
Hey, you know what? That's neither here nor there, but they should have. Y'all know y'all was wrong. But this brings you back to resurgence. It brings you back to resurgence. You bring in Aaron Rodgers. You bring in Dalvin Cook. Aaron Rodgers gave you $35 million back, so you got him at a premium to a certain extent. Your defense is excellent. You get Dalvin Cook. You get Breece Hall back. So they're also young guys with the exception of 2. I think you're building the New York Jets up for the future. I think they're starting to build the New York Jets up for the next 4, 5, 6 years. And also Aaron Rodgers is the guy that not only did they bring in to try to get to the Super Bowl, they brought him in to groom Zach Wilson, which seems to be going well. So if they don't get a Super Bowl out of Aaron, but they get to the AFC Championship this year or next year, and they make it to the semifinals the following year and the final year, and they start to establish themselves as a consistent team, especially with the absence of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in the playoff system for the AFC in terms of the Patriots, then it works. Then it worked, but they haven't had anything happen. So I think that it's not Super Bowl or bust. It's consistency or bust, but maybe I'm just a homer.
Well, yeah, and I think in New York now, and you would have a better idea than this, and Maz too, but I feel like the Jets are New York's team right now, not the Giants.
They are. It's the quarterback.
And they've totally will own the back pages.
Because back page, that's funny. The other thing about that's funny is you think about what the Jets have done in terms of spending money on a quarterback. They haven't spent money at the quarterback position because every time a quarterback gets to the end of his rookie deal, Ryan, what are they doing? Snip, snip. They didn't spend money on Mark Sanchez. They didn't spend money on Sam Darnold. They haven't spent money on Zach Wilson yet. They didn't spend money on Geno Smith. Insert quarterback drafted. So if you want to blow $100 million in 2 years on Aaron Rodgers, you backloaded some cash to do so. So I don't think, but they definitely have to be consistent. They can't lose in the first round in the next 2 years in either one of them. They can't lose first round this year. They can't lose first round next year. They have to be at least in the semifinals for the next 4 years, and then you got to get something out of Zach Wilson for me to say that this deal was okay, unless you win the Super Bowl in year 1 or year 2.
Another high-profile running back, Ezekiel Elliott, signs with the New England Patriots. He, too, signs a 1-year deal worth up to $6 million. He will go back to wearing the number that he wore at the Ohio State University, number 15. Zeke has been written off as just a guy that's totally broken down, maybe a guy that's got nothing left. I don't know. I feel like Zeke has a little bit left in the tank.
I think Zeke has a lot more in the tank than people think. But at the same time, not that much more, Ryan, than people think. I'll give you an example. The year they won the national championship of Ohio State, the last 4 games that Zeke had, he had over 200 yards in each 4 of those games. It was Michigan, it was Wisconsin, it was Alabama, and then it was Oregon. He had over 200 yards a game. He had over 40 yards a carry average in those 4 games. And then what happened, Ryan? He came back for another year, and they lost that year, but that's more wear and tear on that body. There's a lot of wear and tear on that body. There is something left, but there is a lot there, and that's why the Dallas Cowboys got rid of him. But it was a good move by Ezekiel Elliott to go to the Patriots, because now that you have Bill O'Brien, now that you have a team that is trying to save their quarterback, what are they going to do? They're going to run the ball a lot more. And you got Ramondre Stevens, who's a damn good running back. So you're splitting times with him. He just added years to his life to a team in Bill Belichick that values that running back position. You know who they're looking for? They're looking for the next LeGarrette Blount, and he's better than LeGarrette Blount. Remember the success that LeGarrette Blount had for the Patriots, including two Super Bowl titles. So it's a great move by him, and it was a smart move by the Patriots.
Does Ezekiel Elliott move the needle at all in that division?
No.
I mean, Jets, Bills, Dolphins, and then Patriots.
You know, yeah, a little bit. And the reason why is because you know what happens in the East, Ryan, in the Northeast? Gets cold starting in October. Starting in November, which means you're going to start running the ball more and more and more. And when you got a guy like Zeke at the end of those games that can play that 4-minute offense, and that's when you're trying to close the game out. That's when you're trying to seal the deal. When you're trying to dominate the game and play that Belichick-style offense early on, he can help Ramondre Stevens do it, and I think it'll definitely benefit them in those later months. When you're talking Thanksgiving, you're talking December, you're talking January. So I definitely think it may help them to the tune of maybe a game and a half more. 2 games, game and a half more maybe.
You got something, Parker?
Yeah, I was going to say, how likely do you think it is going to be that we could see the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins all be in the playoffs, like similar how the NFC East was last year?
All 4 of them can't get in because somebody's going to have to win that division. Yeah. And then the second team, somebody's got to come in second. I'm looking, and then the 3 is going to be the wild spot in terms of can 3 get in? Like, this is the AFC North. I mean, the AFC we're talking about. It's the hardest conference in football. The AFC is stacked. I mean, you start going around. I mean, you look at the AFC North. You got Pittsburgh. You got the Ravens. You got the Bengals. And you have the Browns. Don't think Deshaun Watson's going to play like he did last year. Then you have the AFC East. You got all 4 teams in that conference. You have the AFC West. You got you have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chargers and the Raiders. They're not going to make it. And the Broncos. What's Sean Payton going to do? It's going to be damn tough to see 4 teams get it, and I just still don't think the Patriots are a playoff team yet.
I don't think Patriots are getting it.
Yeah,
I think the Dolphins definitely have a chance. I mean,
yeah.
Dolphins
You talking about those 3? I thought you were asking 4. That's my bad for not listening to you.
No.
Yeah, they got a shot.
I think the top 3 will definitely have a shot. I think it's one of the toughest divisions in the AFC.
The reason why I think they have a shot more than anything is because if people don't want to hear this, but the Dolphins aren't finishing lower than second in that division. The Dolphins are going to either win it or they're going to be second, which means the Jets are either coming in second or they're coming in first. The Buffalo Bills will be third. The Buffalo Bills, playing against anybody else other than the AFC East, they're going to have a chance to win all those games. So I think you get 3, but I think it's not in the order you think. I think the Dolphins win or the Dolphins come in second.
JB, I cannot take Parker seriously anymore.
Why you say that?
We're not doing
With
that
the Patriots?
So JB,
the Parker.
I don't even know if I want to say. Can we show the picture?
I'll download it.
Can we show the picture? I gotta show you. So JB sent this to us. We have a show text thread.
I hate it.
We have a show text thread, and JB.
I'm so mad I'm putting this up.
I don't even like I don't even think we should joke about this. But who is Parker Brown? Really? Parker is on the right.
Is he? He might be on the left too.
We think. Are you in witness protection?
Hey,
are you witness protection?
My lips are sealed.
By the cheesy.
Oh my God!
I plead the 5th.
Please.
JB wronged you, man.
He outed you.
No, you know who wronged me? The person that said I looked like Kyle Rittenhouse in the first place.
Who
I don't
did
remember.
This? Somebody in the
Someone
chat?
did it on Friday, and I was like, JB. And then JB takes a picture of me. And I go, JB, you better not do anything with that. Come to find out,
man.
I get an email this morning saying with the subject LOL. And I'm like, oh no! Open it up. I'm like, dude, I'm not even saying anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's somebody you want a side by side of ever.
No.
Oh
I really
man, poor guy.
I'm not happy about it.
Oh man.
You guys are terrible.
Love you, Parker, man. Love you, man.
yeah, I hope you do. I hope you do.
Oh man. Anyway, good stuff, guys. More NFL, and I do want Braylon to take quick topic on Michigan as well. Then Dan Miller, 325. Braylon goes to New York. But first, a message from Lady Jane's.
Sounds like a good plan.
Is that a good plan?
That's a good plan, man.
Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. You can walk into any Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically enter for your chance to win not 1 but 2 vehicles of your choice, courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. That's right, 2 cars, 1 for you, your wife, your girlfriend, your best bud, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, whoever you want to give it to. All you have to do is get your hair cut at Lady Jane's. You can give one to even Parker or his pseudo friend there. Open 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
How about that rookie? He is something else. How big is that?
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports. Detroit's winning sports network.
Hey guys, welcome back, Woodward Sports Network. I like that commercial with me hitting that 3-pointer.
Me. It's all about me.
I mean, look.
All about me.
I think I'm wearing the same shirt I wore in the 3-point shirt, too.
You gotta get some new shirts, man. You gotta get some more. You know what I don't like about the commercial? You know what they cut off? Right.
Your
before,
reaction.
Yes, right before you started, I said
it.
cash. They cut me out.
No
man.
cap. No cap.
I always cutting the brother out, man.
No doubt.
I always cutting the brother out.
Man. My goodness.
It's all good though, man. I knew when you went up to shoot it, you was gonna make it. You was feeling yourself that day. You was feeling yourself.
Dan Miller coming up in 10 minutes. That's right. Shoot it. 10 minutes. I do want to get to this. Jalen Hurts signs with the Jordan brand. That's one aspect of the story. But also another aspect. Apparently, Jalen Hurts gets in the building in Philadelphia at 5 a.m. He leaves the building in Philadelphia at 9 p.m.
That's what that's what it takes. That's what it takes. I mean, that is exactly what it takes. I've only been around, well, I guess Alex Smith, because Mark was a little younger. Nobody in Cleveland. Brady kind of was like that. But Alex Smith and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson only was for 1 year, and it was San Fran. Say what you want to about Russell Wilson. That joker was at that facility every morning at 6. It wasn't 5, but it was 6. Jalen Hurts understand what it took to get here. At every place he was, he's been what, Ryan? He's been questioned. Whether it was in high school, is he good enough? Goes to Alabama. Damn, is he good enough to start over Tua Tagovailoa? Goes to Oklahoma. Is he good enough to become a passing quarterback? Because he really wasn't that at Alabama. Gets drafted by the Eagles. Is this the guy that could take over Carson Wentz's job? I don't know. Gets the starting job, goes to the playoffs. Kind of inched into the playoffs, kind of snuck into the playoffs. Is this the guy that you're really going forward with? He's always been questions. The only way to answer questions is to put in the work. You got to do the work. You got to watch the film. You got to get in the ice tub. You got to watch the film with your players. You got to watch the film with coaches. You got to get in the weight room. You got to get in whatever rehab, whatever program you're on. Because a lot of players are on their own programs, even though they're at the same facility. They'll be doing their own thing until OTAs really start. So, but if you want to be Peyton Manning, if you want to be insert Tom Brady, insert Aaron Rodgers, insert whoever's won championships, Ben Roethlisberger. Maybe not him. These guys put in that work, man. These guys are there. Those guys are at the facility. They're always looking to get better because they control the team. As much as we want to say it, quarterback is the most important position on the field. You're controlling so many things. You're controlling the time of the game. You're controlling the flow of the game. You're controlling, oh, shoot, Braylon hasn't had a catch in about a quarter, so I got to get him a dime so he feels good. Oh, you know what? I know I got to get this guy over here. Dang. You're looking at everything. You're looking at how coaches react. Oh, here go coach on this, sir. I got to calm him down. You're controlling a lot at that position, but it stems from the time you put in to understand all these attributes that you're controlling.
If you want to be great at football or great at anything, whatever your job is, you've got to put the work in, and you've got to sacrifice.
Yeah,
that is true. That is sacrificing a lot. That is having a discipline about you that I don't think he's married or anything like that. But you can't be married and have kids if you're out from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m.
That's why a lot of guys do it.
They sacrifice. You sacrifice that.
Damian Woody told me this, and we've had him on the show, Super Bowl winner with the Patriots, played for the Detroit Lions. He told me this. He said, as a young man in the NFL, you got to do it one of two ways. You say you got to get married to your high school sweetheart, and you got to tell her what the game plan is. Hey, look, football comes first. I'm going to do what I can do. I'm going to provide for the family. Football comes first. I'm not going to be out here wild and doing any dumb stuff, but football comes first. Family, I love you guys. Football comes first because I'm about to put food on this table. Or you wait till the season's over. Jerome Bettis told me. He waited till he was finished so that he can enjoy it.
Till the career's over, not the season.
Oh, the career. Excuse me. You wait till the career is over. You look at Jerome, played an extensive career as a pro bowler, not Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl winner. Jerome got drafted in '93. Jerome hung him up 2007. Then got married. He was only 38.
I know.
So people got to look at it like that. I
got married at 36.
Exactly.
I could have been done by
true.
I would have been done playing.
Exactly. So people think of it like, oh man, that's a long time to wait. If you play the average NFL career, we know what that is. But let's say a longer NFL career. Say you played 12 years, Ryan. 34 years old. 34 years old. You have a lot of time left to do the things that you want to do. So I think that at that position, quarterback, You see it just like that. They either got the high school sweetheart, like Peyton, where she knows the game plan because she's been there since high school. She understands the program, or you wait till it's all over.
I'm not getting married at 26, 27, 28 years old. I was a disaster back then.
But quarterbacks are different.
Right.
But at least if you marry a quarterback, you marry a quarterback that's dedicated to the game. You know what he is. You know where he's at all times, and he'll figure it out as he's figuring it out. But he's a leader, so you figure if he can lead a bunch of men, and he can lead a family home. So quarterback is the only position where it's at.
Final NFL thing I want to talk about before we get into the Michigan Wolverines for a couple of minutes before Dan Miller joins us at 3:25. Nick Bosa holding out, continuing to hold out in San Francisco. I mean, upwards of $1 million he's been fined for missing preseason and preseason games and things like that. How much of a distraction is this when you get this far into camp now, when you've got players like Bosa, probably the best defensive player in the league, so important to the San Francisco 49ers defense success, team success? How important is that? How big of a red flag is that for a team, if any?
You said it, he's the best defensive player in the league as of right now. He's a returning defensive player of the year last year, his first time winning the trophy. He's the best defensive player in the league, and they have the best defense in the league. That team's success is predicated on how good that defense is. Yes, I understand Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and what Brock Purdy and Trent Williams bring. That team is predicated on what Nick Bosa and that defense does. So with that being said, if I'm on his team as a player, it's only a distraction if you let it distract you as a team. He's the best defensive player in the league. You just said that, or argue, because if Maz was here, he'd be arguing us down number 11 from the Cowboys.
Micah Parsons.
If I know that as a team, if I know that, well, you know what? We get way more chances to score points because of how good our defense is, because of Nick Bosa allows us to do that. Shoot, take all the time you need. Get it done before the season. But once the season starts, let's rock and roll. We're on the same page. I'm not tripping. Like if you let the media tear you up, also let the media know how they almost made it to the Super Bowl with a third-string quarterback.
No doubt, and we'll see what they do again this season. Hey, Bray, Michigan AP poll came out yesterday. You have not had a chance to comment on it yet. Michigan opens up at number 2, Georgia 1, Ohio State 3, Alabama 4, LSU 5, USC 6.
I mean, that's what it's supposed to be, you know, and the coaches have shown you that the AP, rarely are the coaches in the AP on the same page, but it shows you what they believe the number 2 teams are in the country. It is Georgia and it is Alabama, and it's Michigan. It should be Georgia first. They're back-to-back defending championship. They got a long laundry list of 5-star players. Their defense has been impeccable. Yes, they got sent a lot of guys to the league, but they have reloaded at doggone every position down there in Georgia, so they should be number 1. And Michigan's gotten better at every league. Last year, they lost Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo, and then what did Jim Harbaugh say about the defense? This is the nobody defense, because nobody before the season last year was like, where's David Ojabo? Where's Aiden Hutchinson? What are you guys going to do now? He donned that phrase, the nobody defense, and that nobody defense actually played better than the Aiden Hutchinson defense, than the David Ojabo-led defense the year before. And guess what? This defense is supposed to be ranked even better than that, and your boy from Grosse Pointe South has cracked the top 10 in terms of best players in the country. Will Johnson coming in at number 10. So you look at that, the defense is going to be better again. You got Blake Corum back. You got Donovan Edwards back. You got a first time Michigan has a starting quarterback going into the season. You got to make them the number 2s, considering Alabama has a first-year quarterback. You don't trust what LSU's defense is going to do, and Ohio State has been owned by Michigan the last 2 years. There's only one true choice at 2, and that's Michigan or Georgia, and the damn sure ain't Georgia.
Yeah, like college football's top 100 players came out. It was filled with Michigan players.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, filled with Michigan players. You know, whether it's Blake Corum. Blake Corum was like number 7 on the list or something like that. Yeah. And Donovan Edwards and everything. So, Braylon, great stuff, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
Braylon's going to get out of here, heading to New York.
Taking off, man.
Enjoy, man. It's going to be a great trip for you. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Now, have you gotten with any teammates or anything like that? Anybody you want to see?
Hit T. Rich up. I had T. Rich, man. I'm an older player now, man.
For the young kids out there, T. Rich.
Tony Richardson, man, one of the best fullbacks in NFL history. Blocked for 4 Hall of Famers and T. Rich. So we'll have some cigars, man. We'll have a glass of wine, catch up a little bit, and I'm just excited for practice tomorrow, man. I want to get a good night's sleep.
Oh, get a good night's sleep. Bray, good stuff, man. Get out of here. Good stuff. Dan Miller coming up next, guys. But first, a message from Randy Wise.
Yes, because what could be better than watching celebrities like Braylon and D-Mac play golf? Well, playing golf yourself and being treated like a celebrity. That's what. Stopping at any Randy Wise dealership for your chance to play golf like a celebrity. VIP transportation, free golf to one of Michigan's best tracks, and a tasty steak afterwards. Compliments of Fairway Packing Company. Make the wise decision and get to a Randy Wise today for your chance to win.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
How about that rookie? He is something else. How big is that?
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Hey gang, want to tell you about Outdoor Equipment Company. Your childhood may be over, but playtime is not. Outdoor Equipment Company, your source for outdoor power equipment, sales, service, parts, carrying top brands such as Bad Boy, LS Tractor, Steel, and more. They service the Great Lakes region with locations in Metro Detroit and Greater Lansing. For more, visit OutdoorEquipCo.com, OutdoorEquipCo.com. Welcome back, Woodward Sports Network on a Tuesday. If you're watching on Fox2Detroit.com, we say hello to you. However you are watching or listening, we appreciate it. Want to bring in Fox 2 Sports Director and the voice of the Detroit Lions, Dan Miller, joining us now. How you doing, Dan?
Good, man. What's happening?
Not a whole lot, man. Just enjoying a beautiful fall-like day on a Tuesday, right? No doubt.
No, listen, I went somewhere last night, and I got hit by that rain. I'm like, man, that's a cold rain. It felt like fall. So, yeah, I'm with you.
It's football season. Hey, Dan, just overall big picture view, 30,000 feet. Your first just initial impression of the Lions on Friday night in preseason game number 1.
You know, I think if you're a coach, you look at that and you say, you had a late game situation where you sent 11 guys out there on offense to go try to win the game. They got the game-winning score. Then you go-ahead scored, and then you had 11 guys on defense that you sent out there to say, stop them, don't let them win, and you're able to do that. I think, you know, even if those guys aren't going to be playing, you've been working with those guys through the offseason and through a couple weeks of camp. You're happy that they went out there and acquitted themselves well in those situations. And then if you're looking at the guys that were playing at the beginning of the game, you know, I thought Brian Branch really flashed. His instincts are just obviously. Chase Cota made a couple of nice catches. Everybody's going to talk about J-Mo. That was a drop that I'm sure he would like to have back. And I think these practices that they had against the Giants and the practices they'll have against the Jags coming up this week, for the veterans, that's become the preseason. Really, that's the reps that the coaches are looking at. And they like those because, A, they're a little more controlled, less chance of injury, but B, you want to work red zone, stick them in the red zone. You want to work, 2 minute, you stick them in 2 minute. They can really control what they're looking at, whereas in a game, you may or may not get those situations.
And the Jags come in tomorrow for 2 workouts, and then, of course, the game on Saturday. Dan, one of the things that we were talking about, just speaking of the quarterback position, Teddy Bridgewater spoke to the media for the first time yesterday since his signing. The guy just looks like a pro. How much do you think he will add to that quarterback room and this football team, just in confidence alone?
Well, I love what he said about working with young players. That, he said basically, I make them check with me before they leave the field after practice. And I think that kind of presence is fantastic. And he was already throwing with J-Mo after practice yesterday. And he made a point to say yesterday when he addressed the media that he's going to dig in on J-Mo. And he's going to make sure that he's headed in the right direction. He wants all that potential to be tapped. And he said, I'm going to put him through some things where he may not like me very much. So I think he likes to clearly put his stamp on young players. I think that's the kind of guy you want to have around because this team is full of young players. I think having guys like him, having guys like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, veterans that set an example and a tone for young players is huge for this football team. And look, he's started 65 games in this league. He may not be what he was 5 years ago, but if you get into a situation where Ben Johnson needs to design a game plan for Teddy Bridgewater to go out there and win a game or two, I think you feel much more confident about that than what they had before. It's just, look, Nate Sudfeld has not played in this league. He has not done the things that Teddy Bridgewater has done. You anticipate you are in much, much better shape now with Teddy Bridgewater. If you look around the league, he's probably considered one of the better backups in the league. And then there's not that many that you're real comfortable with. But he's got to get in here, learn that playbook, get some reps, and be ready to go. But I think you feel much better now with where you are having him in the fold than you did. And look, Brad Holmes said it at the end of last year. They had not addressed that backup quarterback. Heck, I think it's been a long time since we addressed that here in Detroit, period. So I just think it's a big step forward that you don't need until you really need it.
No doubt. And Bridgewater, as you mentioned Jameson Williams. Look, we talk about Jameson Williams more than I'm almost comfortable with doing on this show. Other people do. It feels like it's the preseason of Jameson Williams. Is this guy right now, anyway, in a no-win situation because, he has a drop the other night, or he goes out there and goes, 7 catches, $112, and 2 touchdowns, and that's what he should be doing against second and third stringers. It just feels like he's in a little bit of a no-win situation right now. Do you see it that way? How do you see it?
Yeah, we're picking it apart. There's no doubt about that. But that also comes with being the number 12 pick in the draft. And, I was talking about it last night. Look, we're doing that to Spencer Torkelson, and we're doing that to Killian Hayes. I mean, we're picking these guys apart and looking at what they do and whether or not they're living up to where they were drafted. And, J-Mo's probably a more of a spotlight on him because he only played in 6 games last year. He only had 1 catch. There have been some drops. There's been talk about other drops, and we've seen the drops in practice. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on him, but that comes with the gig, and that comes with the contract, and that comes with being an NFL player. So, yeah, do I think it's overdone a little bit? Yeah, when we start breaking down what he's doing late at night or if he's lighting off fireworks and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, we're probably taking it a bit too far. But having expectations for him and expecting him to be an impact player, a high impact player, that's why they drafted him. That's why they traded back up to get him. That's not going too far. Those expectations should be there. They should be there from you, from me, from the coaching staff, from the fans, and from himself.
Talking to Fox 2 Sports Director Dan Miller, voice of the Lions as well. Dan, you talk about these joint practices. Obviously, on Friday night, we did not see the top 6 offensive linemen, any of the starters really at all, minus some of the rookies that we expect to be starters at some point. Do you think we'll see these starters at any point in the games in the preseason?
No. I don't. I think I just think these joint practices in particular, when you have 2 of them, and look, Ryan, I don't know the answer to that. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you, I don't think so. I just don't think they want to risk the injury. I think that most of these guys will not play at all in the preseason. We'll see. Dan Campbell may come out tomorrow and say, we're going to give these guys, some reps, but I don't think so. Their reps will come in these joint practices. Just because they want to get to the regular season as healthy as possible. Look, Jared Goff wouldn't have played at all last year in the preseason if he had not insisted on playing in that 3rd game. So I think that's where we are right now in the NFL, that these joint practices have become the preseason for veteran players. And in some respects, that's great for younger players that get, more reps and get looks right off the bat in a game. And it's all about getting ready but staying healthy. And I really believe that they feel like when you're going up against Jacksonville's ones, the offensive line can get their work in, and Jared Goff can get his timing in, and the receivers working against their top cornerbacks can get their work in as well. So I think it's a case-by-case basis, but I think for the most part, if you're a veteran who's established and is going to be starting, you're not going to be playing a whole lot. If you're a veteran like Julian Okwara, who needs to go out there and show this coaching staff something, you're going to be playing a lot. Romeo Okwara, who's trying to show them that he's come back off an injury. You again, case by case, but for the most part, if they know exactly who you are, where you are, and what they believe you're bringing, and what they're expecting of you, I just don't see these guys playing in the preseason.
Dan, every preseason there does feel like there's somebody on the roster that you're just rooting for to make the team, whether it's Tom Kennedy one year, Dan Skipper one year. It feels like Dylan Drummond is that guy this year. And then Chase Cota goes out there and has a really nice showing on Friday night. How about that battle for maybe a final wide receiver spot? And what is the odds of a Dylan Drummond making the team maybe?
I think it's decent. I mean, especially with J-Mo not being in there. I mean, look, your top guys are set at this point. You got a couple of veterans in there, but then you get to the Mims, Cota, Drummond. Do they keep Mims just because he's got such, skills, speed, size that you can't teach anywhere, and they want to see if they can get that out of him? Or do they look at a guy like Drummond and say, you know what, this is just a diamond that we came up with, and he's a great story to your point. Doesn't get a call on draft day, doesn't get a call after the draft, really only gets one invitation to a rookie camp, which isn't a guarantee that you're even going to get to training camp, and the guy's just gone out there and made plays. He'll get a lot of snaps coming up on Saturday, and he's got to do something with them. Probably should have caught that touchdown pass the other day. That's one he let get away. And Cota went out there and really took advantage of all the opportunities that he had. And again, he's got some physical traits that you love. He's 6'4", he's 205, he's a 4'5" guy, so he's not slow. So again, a chance for him to go out there. I do think there's a back end of the receiver spot open to one of those guys that establishes themselves. Again, I think, Amon-Ra is going to be there, and Khalif Raymond is going to be there, and Marvin Jones is going to be there, and Reynolds is going to be there. Beyond that, I think there's some questions there.
Dan, in the time that we last talked to you, the Lions have sold out season tickets for the first time in Ford Field history. The Super Bowl odds have jumped 25-1 to 22-1. They're the most bet team to win the NFC championship. There is so much positive going on with this football team right now, and the love this organization is getting as a whole. How has this thing changed in 3 years?
It's probably a long answer. I think it starts with the vision that Sheila Hamp and Rod Wood and Mike Disner and Chris Spielman had. And I didn't go back to them hiring Chris Spielman and the understanding that they needed to change the culture within the building. And before you even got a coach or got a GM or started bringing in new players, you needed to make sure that everybody in that building was on the same page. and everybody in that building felt like they were valued, because I think with the previous regime that wasn't the case. But you need everybody to understand, whether you're in media relations, public relations, whatever your department is, sales, that you're part of something and considered important. And that when you go to work on Monday, that what you're doing is of value. And then I think you got to hiring guys that were going to continue that. And Dan Campbell, who I think we all know is just a good dude. He just is who he is. And Brad Holmes, who's the same way. And the way that they work together in collaboration with Disner, with Spielman, with everybody from the top, from Sheila and Rod on down. It starts there, and it starts with just an attitude and an understanding of how you want to do it. But the people that you want to do it with, and that they're people that are going to bring that culture to everybody else. And then I think, look, they've done a good job of drafting players, but more important than that, or equally as important, their coaching staff has done a good job of developing players. I mean, you and I have talked about this before here, Ryan. Guys don't come into this league understanding how to play in the NFL. You have to teach them how to play in the NFL. And for too long, there was no draft and then development in Detroit. And there were too many guys that never even got to a second contract because they got to the end of the first and they were like, doesn't need to come back. He hasn't distinguished himself. The teams that win year after year, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, the teams that do it consistently, New England, they understand the type of player they want. But it doesn't end there. They then take those players and their coaches develop them within a system that you have that allows you to build depth and continue that thing year after year after year. And the understanding that you're not going to build your team through free agency, because free agency is a way to fill holes. And a lot of times if you have so many holes because you didn't draft and develop, it just doesn't work. We've tried that here in Detroit. It's not a way to build. Now, if you get to the end of the season, you say, you know what? We're pretty solid in most places, but man, we need to rebuild our secondary. Okay, then you can go out and get C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Cam Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley and say, you know what? Secondary, we've turned that thing over. It's solid, but you can't make a living like that. And you can't build your depth chart like that. So it's a long-winded way of saying it's culture, which is a word that's thrown around, but it is a meaningful word when done correctly. And then it's so important that you have both ends of the equation, drafting and developing. And Dan Campbell, one thing he's gotten a lot of credit for, deservedly so, is the coaching staff that he's built. Now, look, some of the guys didn't work out, and he got rid of them. But he brought in other guys that were more aligned with his vision. And it's been, I think, a powerful part of what has happened with this football team. Now, all that being said, and all these bouquets being thrown their way, they haven't done anything. You got one winning season where you didn't make the playoffs. So you got 17 cracks at this thing coming up this year, and you better be ready to take advantage of it, because you found out last year, if you're not ready to start quickly, you're going to get behind the 8 ball, and catching up can be, really difficult, if not impossible, like it was last year. And then your fate's in somebody else's hands. This team is good. This depth chart is good. Now you got to go out there and put it all together and prove it.
One last bouquet. Kudos to Lomas Brown. How great was that in the booth on Friday night, huh?
It was great.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just to be a part of that and just to see Lomas, we were talking earlier, just this organization feels like it's now starting to do everything right. And, to put Lomas Brown's name in that building as one of the great Lions of all time, he should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, in my opinion. But the Lions don't need the Hall of Fame's permission to honor their own guy in their own building. So they are doing the right thing to put him in the pride of the Lions. And it's, long overdue, but we won't focus on that. But, just great for an all-time Lion.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit overdue, and I think probably people in the organization would tell you it is as well. But I think things kind of got bogged down with COVID, and they fell behind a little bit probably in what should have been a natural progression to get him in there. Look, just thrilled for him. They don't come any nicer than Lomas Brown. He's just a beautiful human being, and it was so cool to be there and to see the shock he had, and to see his family be there when he had no idea that they were all going to show up, and just the genuine surprise that he got when all that went down. He really had no idea. There weren't a lot of people that knew, but to be able to kind of be there and watch his face as that thing unfolded on the big board was really cool. I'm just so happy for him. You're right. He deserves consideration for the NFL Hall of Fame or Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's hard for those offensive linemen to kind of distinguish themselves. I mean, I think, as somebody who grew up in D.C., Joe Jacoby should be in there. That's another one who's kind of been overlooked. But Lomas, 7 Pro Bowls, all pro, and just somebody who throughout the 90s was one of, if not the best left tackles in the NFL. It's a hard position to distinguish yourself at. He did that. But we don't have touchdowns, and we don't have receptions, and we don't have interceptions, and we don't have tackles that we can apply to these left tackles to really, say, here's what he did. And I think that's where sometimes it becomes difficult to kind of judge these guys and get them the accolades or the enshrinements that they deserve. But this is awesome. His name deserves to hang in that building, and I'm so glad that it will. And I can't wait till, Monday night against the Raiders, when that place will be absolutely rocking with, a stadium packed with well-lubricated fans that will be there to just, make it a special night for him. And I get chills thinking about it because I just love the guy so much, and it's going to be awesome.
He did have Barry, though. He might not have had touchdowns, but he did have Barry to
And you know what? I think Barry would tell you that guys like Lomas and Kevin Glover were a big part of his success. And, it's Barry's Barry, but he'll point to Lomas and say, you know what? Having that guy at left tackle and Glover at center and the other guys that were part of those offensive lines throughout the years, Barry would be the first to tell you he didn't do it alone. He might have been able to, but he didn't. It's going to be really cool to see that.
Dude, I appreciate you spending this time with me, Dan. I could go on and talking about the fans. How about a silent count in a preseason game for the Giants? I mean, incredible.
It was a great crowd. Yeah, I mean, I guess people figured if they bought their season tickets, they might as well use them. So it was more than we're used to seeing for a preseason game, but it was really cool. And I anticipate we'll see a great crowd out there again on the Saxonville game. And Ryan, I've told you before, there's nothing better about my job than seeing this team win and then seeing fans happy. So I'm excited. They're excited. I just want this thing to move in the right direction so everybody can finally get what everybody around here has waited so long for and deserves from this franchise. And I think, this is an exciting year where a lot of that could happen.
Amen to that. Hey, who's in the office with you now? Is Greg Canner in there or Matt Trump?
He just walked out. Here's Jeff Holloway. Here's Jennifer Hammond. She's
Hammers.
Here. Say hi to Armani.
Hi, Armani.
Hi, Hammer. How are you?
He says hi.
Oh, I don't see his face.
He's right. He's right there. You see his chin.
Miller has to be blocked because Miller likes to look at a big.
There's Holloway's.
Hey there,
There's Holloway's. He says, hey there, Hollowell.
Tell me when to go see his favorite college coach today.
Matt Trump is over there. Oh, she went to see your favorite college coach today.
Lloyd Carr or Jim Harbaugh?
He said Lloyd Carr or Jim Harbaugh.
All right, Dan. Thanks so much, bud. We'll be watching tonight. Fox 2 News at 5 and 6.
Appreciate you.
Great stuff. That's awesome. The great Dan Miller joining us here on Woodward Sports Network. We are going to take a break. When we come back, get into more of this Lions discussion here. JB Parker are with me the rest of the way. But first, a message from Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts and have been for over 90 years. When you see this black and yellow sign out in front of your house, it tells the bad guys one thing: stay out. Whether you are at home or on the road, they're 24/7 professional monitoring, customized solutions from real experts, and technology backed by people means you are backed by the best. Call this number right here, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Stay out. That number again, 1-800- Stay out. Stay out of here.
Get out.
It's how Woodward Sports Center.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit. We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Strawberry Fest is back at Big Boy. Try the classic breakfast items like the strawberry hotcakes or the mouth-watering red velvet waffles. But if you're not feeling breakfast, try the strawberry bacon chicken wrap or cool off with the refreshing summer splash salad. But don't leave Big Boy without getting yourself some dessert, because they have the very delicious classic strawberry pie, the deep-fried vanilla Oreos, and of course, the strawberry hot fudge cakes, and so much more at your local Big Boy.
Real estate, flexibility and control over the sales process is key. Sellers, how would you like the freedom of canceling your listing agreement at any time for any reason with no penalty at all? That is exactly what Mark White and Associates offers. It's called the minute-by-minute listing by Mark White and Associates. Try Mark White's risk-free minute-to-minute listing today. Looking to buy or sell real estate? Visit markwhitesells.com, or you can call 248-290-8242. That number again, 248-290-8242. markwhitesells.com, where flexibility meets success.
Now, before you go to Big Boy, you gotta stop at Dispo.
You gotta
stop at Dispo. Experience the true meaning of exceptional cannabis products with Dispo dispensaries. Indulge in the finest selection of cannabis, curated with care. With over 12 locations, including the new location now open in Whitmore Lake, Dispo is never far away. Visit disposhops.com today and unlock a world of endless possibilities in the realm of cannabis. Once again, that is DISPO shops.com, your local cannabis plug.
How would you like to win not one, but two vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Hey, this is Mr. Kearney, Chief Academic Officer at Academy Warren. I want to welcome you to the brand new field house. The state-of-the-art facility has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, soccer field. It can be used for 7-on-7 football. Our K-8 academic features AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Houghton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K-8 athletics, and more. Enroll today at academywarren.net.
Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Woodward Sports Network on a Tuesday. How's everybody doing out there? Had a great interview with Dan Miller. Jim Rome used to do that. Remember the old Jim Rome show? Had a great interview. Just give himself a pat on the back all the time. That was great. Rack him. So awesome. But it was great to talk to Dan. Braylon had to leave the show a little early today to catch a flight out to New York. He is going to be a part of the Jets Alumni Day tomorrow. He'll be back for Thursday's show. Tom Mazaway will be back for the Thursday show as well. The camera there, the Maz chair, very sad over the very sad situation for the Maz chair. Nobody is sitting in it without Tom Mazaway, but he will be back on Thursday. JB and Parker are with me now. You know, one of the things that Dan Miller was talking about, guys, was this football team has really, they've done nothing. right? We're talking about this team like they won a playoff game last year or got deep in the playoffs. They have not. They had a winning season in which they did not make the playoffs, but a lot of people, a lot of fans believe in this football team. The organization, the team themselves, they believe this is the year. ESPN just put out a thing earlier today, the 14 teams that have a chance to win the Super Bowl, some of their pros and cons. The Lions were in that group.
It's crazy.
Right? When's the last time that the Lions were ever in a group like that? I mean, it's going to be an exciting year, but they've got to go out and win football games.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Parker.
Yo, you go, JB.
No, I was just going to say they definitely have to go out there and prove it. I think we're just so hype on the way the season ended last year, especially against the Packers. Just how much faith that we believe in this team now, especially in Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, just to see the players that they brought in and to see the success, not only in the preseason game, but also in training camp. As you know, like, fans just swarm Allen Park just to see everyone play, just to see these new rookies, these new members of the team. And I feel like we're all just bought in now. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, when I was there at the game Friday, I'm going Saturday as well, I was leaving, and people were yelling Super Bowl. I mean, when you have a team like this that is, or a fan base like this that is so behind what the Lions are doing right now, it's inspiring. And I think the momentum and the motivation that these fans are bringing in, sold out stadium for season tickets, I mean, that's gonna just make you feel confident in what you're doing throughout this regular season and going into the playoffs. I mean, we see a lot of great things from Jordan Love this preseason. So who knows exactly what's going to happen? Like you said, Lions haven't proved anything. Yeah. But man, it's inspiring. It's special. I'd say that this preseason.
Well, I understand if people, it takes them a minute or two or need to see it to believe it. A lot of people have been scarred around here for a long time, but I don't believe you can go. I don't believe that's like a realistic way to go about it. I mean, you've got to look and see how this team is being built. Look and see the players and the people that are in these different position rooms and the team as a whole and the people that are leading this organization. It just feels like everything about this organization is different. And one of the things that Dan Miller was talking about too in terms of the change, right? It's the building has changed in Allen Park. You want to make sure, in whether you're a football organization or your Woodward Sports or your Lady Jane's or your the Speedway gas station across the street, you want to make sure that no matter what job you're in, that you're valued. You want to make sure that you have a leadership that values what you're doing. And again, that could be any job at all. It doesn't have to be working for the Detroit Lions in Allen Park. That's how successful organizations are built, when everybody feels valued. And you can't help but walk in that building and feel that validation. You can't walk in that building and I feel like we're a bit of a family here.
Yeah.
When we walk in, the high fives and playing catch and doing all that stuff, whatever we're doing, silly guy stuff. But I do feel like we're a bit of a family here, and it's no different in that building. It doesn't take a genius to be a good leader. You have to empower your people. You have to choose good people to come along with you, and you have to work hard. And if you have those things, then you're going to be successful at anything you do. And I just think that where the Lions are right now, this is exactly where we've always hoped they would be as Detroit Lions fans. They are an upper echelon organization in the National Football League. They're the favorite to win the NFC North for the first time in 30 years. That is an incredible place to be, and it's real. It's not some fugazi. It is a real expectation with a real organization. Guys, thanks so much for listening today. Check back to our social media channels, Woodward Sports on YouTube, X, Instagram. I still can't say X without saying Twitter. I think it's funny.
I still call it Twitter.
Yeah.
If it makes any sense.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Right.
It's never going to change.
And TikTok. Guys, heavyweights start 5 to 7 tonight. Check them out. And if you missed any part of this show, check out, like I said, our social media channels. For Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway, Parker Brown, and the great JB, Jeremy Bryant, the glue guy. Jeremy Bryant holds all of Woodward sports together, literally. JB,
I
my
appreciate
guy.
you guys.
That is it for me. I'm Ryan Ermanni. So long. We'll see you tomorrow here on Woodward Sports Network.